Souls have decided and one found good and the other found bad in the first episode of Classic Effect Worthy. If you haven't watched my TV trope worthy episode, the classic effect is a trope of mine that focuses on an original and reboot classic movie or TV show that has the same quality but for different reasons. Equally different is what I'm saying. If you're still confused, I'll leave a link to the video in the description below. As for Ducktales, I think I don't need to explain what the classic show is about. The title explains it. Though, if you've been living under a rock, it basically involves ducks going on adventures for whatever reason. Sometimes, they get roped into it as well. Okay, let's see if we can make objectivity about 15 minutes or more. Let's start with the characters from the old show. Alan Young as Scrooge McDuck, a Scottish capitalist that started out from the bottom, and got on top by being tougher than the toughies and smarter than the smarties, and he made his money square. His weakness is his greed and age in the least, though, his greed has helped him in the past, as well as his age, 150 years old. Sea turtle levels. Russi Taylor as Huey, Dewey, and Louie Duck and Webby Vanderquack. The Duck triplets share the same personality for the most part. Dewey had one episode where he wanted to stick out from his siblings, troublesome like Scrooge at their age, but can help at times. Webby is basically kind and brave, loves animals, and sometimes sensitive. Gee, does that sound familiar? Chuck McCann as Duckworth the butler, Burger Beagle, and Bouncer Beagle. Duckworth usually handles the driving, cleaning, and serving at the manor. He does get character development in 2 episodes. I'll talk about the Beagle Boys as soon as all of them get brought up. Terry McGovern as Launchpad McQuack, entire series, and Babyface Beagle, Season 1. Launchpad is a pilot that crashes frequently. He's a bit of an idiot, but sometimes his idiocy has helped. He gets more character development than Duckworth. Frank Welker as Big Time Beagle, entire series, Baggy Beagle, entire series, Poe, Season 1, and Bubba, Seasons 2-4. Hal Smith as Euro Gearloose and Flintheart Glomgold. Euro is a genius with a creative mind for inventions. He basically knows his inventions very well and learns from his mistakes, though, that can be a bit of a weakness. And it's only in inventing things. He can still be tricked if caught off guard. Flintheart Glomgold is Scrooge's rival and the second richest duck in the world. He'll do anything to get on top through mischief and crime. He even gives Scrooge 2 challenges from what I recall. Joan Gerber as Mrs. Benton a Beakley, Glittering Goldie and additional voices. Beakley is the nanny of Huey, Dewey, and Louie as well as Webby Vanderquack. She's a lot more sensitive than Webby, but her role is to give exposition sometimes. Gold Fever, anyone? Okay, I had to do a lot of digging to find who Glittering Goldie is. And basically, she is the love interest of Scrooge as he is to her. Not because she's after Scrooge's money, but she can relate to how he makes it, as she gets money through other means. They got into a lot of hijinks in the past, as well as their present. I might be leaving out a lot of details, but I need to move on. Hamilton Camp as Fenton Crackshell Gizmoduck, Seasons 2-4. Additional voices in Season 1. Fenton Crackshell was Scrooge's accountant until he finds an attraction to Gyro's invention and becomes Gizmoduck, a super mechanically enhanced duck that becomes a superhero.
When there's trouble, you know what to do. Call Cyborg, he can shoot a rocket from his shoe. Cause he's Cyborg, doodle, something like that. Oh yeah, na big love.
June Foray as Ma Beagle and Magica de Spell. Magica de Spell is a witch that is after Scrooge's #1 dime. It's basically Scrooge's good luck charm for fortune. Peter Cullen as Bank Job Beagle and Admiral Grimmets, Season 1. Admiral Grimmets is Donald Supreme. That's all I have to say. Brian Cummings as Doofus Drake and Bugle Beagle, Season 1. Additional voices in Season 3. Doofus Drake is the comic relief, though he does have his helpful moments. Okay, now I can move on to the Beagle Boys. They are a bunch of criminals going after Scrooge's fortune, mostly led by Ma Beagle, but they do come off as mostly henchmen to Scrooge's enemies. There are some variants. Tony Anselmo as Donald Duck, Season 1. Donald Duck has a ducky voice and works in the Navy. Not much can be said here since he was a brief cameo. There are 25 plus characters and 24 voice actors. The characters in the reboot are the same, but more are added. Donald Duck is adventurous and daring who gets all of the bad luck and can be overprotective of his nephews after what happened at the Spear of Saline incident. Same voice actor. Huey is the same character in the old Ducktales and is voiced by Danny Pudi. Dewey is the hothead of the group and is adventurous like his mother. We'll get to it. He is voiced by Ben Schwartz. Louis is the evil triplet who is lazy and greedy. He is voiced by Bob Moynihan. Scrooge McDuck here is more competitive in being on top sense rather than for the money. He is voiced by the recent most popular Doctor, David Tennant. Kate Micucci is Webby Vanderquack. Webby here is a socially awkward duck who was trained by Mrs. Beakley to defend herself and carries a grappling hook. Beck Bennett is Launchpad McQuack. Launchpad now acts as all vehicle transportation. Toxolagoondoye is Mrs. Beakley. Mrs. Beakley acts as the one running McDuck Manor and sometimes the voice of reason. Mrs. Beakley is also now strong and independent who happens to be a secret agent. Paget Brewster as Della Duck, main Season 3, recurring Season 2, guest Season 1. Della Duck acts as the mischievous mother who is a daredevil, willing to do something for the thrill of it.
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum.
There are over 30 characters and more than 24 actors. The reboot wins that category. Next, the theme song. The series theme song was written by Mark Muller, an ASCAP award-winning pop music songwriter who also wrote the theme song to Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Muller was paid a little over $1,000 to write the tune. Episode musical scores and background cues were written by at least 4 musicians. The primary and most known composer was Ron Jones, who wrote and conducted orchestral themes for the program. In contrast to how the other composers were creating a patronizing and cute score for the show, Jones says he composed the music with regard to the audience and its intelligence. I would not play the score like a kid's show at all. If they went on an adventure, I would play it serious like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Jones' score for Ducktales has been praised by fans of the show. 3 other musicians worked on creating incidental music cues for Ducktales. One musician, Stephen Rucker, also was in charge of conducting and composing tracks, much like Jones. The 2 other musicians, Steve Zuckerman and Thomas Chase Jones, composed only synthetic cues for the show, and generally kept the tone lighter, as opposed to Jones and Rucker. In total, there were approximately 85 incidental music cues composed for Ducktales. A track was played on different occasions on an episode, appropriate with the current ongoing situation. As of 2019, there has never been an official release of any of the background music on Ducktales. The Ducktales theme was sung by Jeff Picetto. There are 4 different versions of the theme song. The original version, serving as the show's opening theme, contained 1 verse, chorus, bridge, and then a chorus. A shorter version of the opening theme was used in the Disney afternoon lineup with the line, "Every day they're out there making Ducktales, woo," taken out. A full-length version of the theme song was released on the Disney afternoon soundtrack, the 3rd volume, which was released in a set with the other 2 volumes in the Music of Disney, a legacy and song along with the full Tailspin theme, and in the November 2013 release of the Disney Classics Collection. Also, it is heard in the end credits of Ducktales, remastered, and is also released on its official soundtrack. The full version contains a 2nd verse, and it includes a guitar solo, which is performed with a wah-wah pedal to make it sound like duck-like noises. It also has a fade-out ending, unlike the other versions. There is also a rare extended version that was used in the read-along cassettes in 1987. It has a sequence order of verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, instrumental, break, chorus. According to an interview conducted with Jeff Picetto in 2009, he was originally approached by Mark Muller to cut a demo version of the theme song for Disney's approval. Although they were impressed with Picetto's demo, Disney had decided at first to hire pop group The Jets to perform the theme song for broadcast. However, after recording a version with the group, Disney felt that the theme song needed a different vocal style, and instead commissioned Picetto to perform the theme. After performing on Ducktales, Picetto would later be asked to sing the vocal themes for Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, composed by Muller and produced by Alf Clausen, Darkwing Duck, composed by Steve Nelson and Tom Sharp and produced by Steve Tyrell, and for the Disney afternoon itself. The Jets, meanwhile, later performed a full-length version of the Rescue Rangers theme song in a music video aired on the Disney Channel in 1989. To put it bluntly, the singing was good, and the music is okay. The reboot's singing is okay, but the music is great. To add to this, the outro is the instrumental. And by extension, the reboot wins. Next, the amount of episodes. The original had 65 episodes in Season 1, 10 episodes in Season 2, 18 episodes in Season 3, and 7 episodes in Season 4. The total is 90 episodes. The reboot might be still going, but so far, there's 23 episodes in Season 1, 24 episodes in Season 2, and soon, there'll be 18 episodes in Season 3, 65 episodes total. But the reboot wins in quality control. We still have plenty of time to do something with it. so I'll be just reading a few of each of the critics' reviews from IMDb. DuckTales 1987 to 1990. Now this is a classic series. DuckTales stands as one of my all-time favorites of Disney's TV series. I just love this series to bits. There are many cool episodes that I remember from the time it was broadcasted over here in the early 1990s. Some of the episodes were a bit scary too, but my favorite episode is the episode where Uncle Scrooge and his nephews go to Alaska to dig for gold. But I must also mention that some of the episodes could be a little cheesy and silly. The voices are also neat and it makes you laugh many times because it can be a bit over the top. None of Disney's newer TV series managed to entertain in the way that DuckTales did. A classic that I'll never forget. Life is like a hurricane, here in Duckburg. DuckTales was Disney's crown jewel in the 80s and 90s, a series that Carl Barks would be proud of. It represents everything that was cool about cartoons in that glorious period: quirky characters, awesome voice acting, animation that actually looks like it was drawn at one time, and an awesome theme song. All these years later, I still find myself humming the theme often. The show centers around Scrooge McDuck, the richest duck in the world. Most of the time, he declares he only loves money, but frequent viewers know that he does indeed have a heart and a soft spot for his nephews and his faithful pilot Launchpad. Scrooge, Launchpad, and the nephews Huey, Dewey, and Louie travel around the world having all sorts of adventures and battling classic enemies like the Beagle Boys or Magica de Spell. DuckTales is just plain fun. Even today, in our cynical age, it still possesses the charm that made it such a favorite. Long live DuckTales. DuckTales is a timeless classic. I am a great fan of the DuckTales cartoon series, and I think that it is a real classic. As a child, I have seen almost all of the series in the evening when they were shown in Germany every Saturday evening, and I was always looking forward to it. I think that most of the plots were interesting and exciting, and the drawings are made very well. Most of the cartoons which you can watch today, like a modern Donald Duck series, I think it's named Uncle Donald and the Boys, are of a much worse quality. Sometimes the plots of DuckTales also refer to classic themes, like to a Shakespeare play, Much Ado About Nothing, to Helen of Troy or to Homer, just to mention a few, or to historical events, like the first flight of the Hindenburg. I just loved to see how Magica de Spell screamed out loud next time Lucky Dime will be mine, or how Scrooge and Flintheart Glomgold talked with their typical Scottish accent. There are only little things which could be better. I think that the second edition is not as good as the first one. I loved to see adventures with the classical stuff like the Beagle Boys, Magica de Spell or Flintheart Glomgold. But I didn't like the new guys which were introduced during the second part like Bubba and Gizmo Duck so much. In my opinion, they did not really fit with the classical Disney characters. But nevertheless, DuckTales is a real classic which I highly recommend to all people who like cartoons in general. I give it 10 points as it's really my favorite cartoon. DuckTales 2017. A surprisingly strong remake of an 80s classic. I went into yesterday waiting for the DuckTales reboot skeptical. Many times when something is relaunched, it's not nearly as good as expected. However, I must say that the new DuckTales is quite good, perhaps, dare I say, even better than the original. There are some things I like better off the bat. The animation is much higher quality now than it was in the 80s. It's fluid, it's clean, and it has a comic book feel to it that gives a nice nod to Carl Barks and his original creation. Also, I like that Huey, Dewey and Louie are given actual individual personalities. In the original, they were pretty much interchangeable. This one, each has a unique appearance and demeanor. Webby is also much better in this one. The writing is strong. A great mix of humor, adventure and character development. Having Donald Duck as a main character is great and adds new dimensions to the show. The only thing early on that really bugged me was the new voice of Scrooge. I know that Alan Young has passed away, but it's going to take some time to get used to this new voice. In defense, I do like the characterization of Scrooge, so once I get used to the voice, it shouldn't be bad either. The other voice actors are great. You can tell they hired some big names to help with this show. This reboot is high quality and has a ton of potential. I look forward to seeing how it unfolds once it goes on the regular schedule. Bravo Disney. A fantastic and faithful reboot that goes even better. I grew up on the old Disney Universe cartoons, before they started getting weird with mid-90s and beyond. Your classics, like DuckTales, Chip and Dale, Tailspin, and Darkwing Duck. Like a lot of people, I eyed off the idea of a reboot with suspicion, but my fears were put to rest with the very first teasers to come out, and with the actual release, I fell in love with the first scenes. The new DuckTales looks and sounds different than the old one, and that's okay. Die-hard old fans who can't abide by the smallest adjustments are just dinosaurs waiting for the comet to hit. The art style is great. It's more reminiscent of the comic art style that the series is based on, and more smooth than the old series. It's not CGI, which makes it stand way out. The voice acting is perfect. It's not the same voice actors as the old series, but again, it doesn't matter. The characters have been given more personality than before, which is great. Huey, Dewey, and Louie are finally three different kids with personalities. Scrooge is more than just a trillionaire, and it seems we're going to see Donald as the adventurer and find out more about the kids' parentage. I'm absolutely beyond excited for this show and look forward to following it. I hope the success makes for some more additions. Never mind the naysayers, the new Ducktales is loving reboot that in every way lives up to the outstanding original. The fundamental problems with living in an age of seemingly endless reboots, remakes and retreads is the simple fact that people get burned out. And when people get burned out, they begin to dissect, dismiss and demean those rare but invaluable examples of reboots done right, just out of a misplaced sense of moral superiority. Case in point 2017's Ducktales, a retelling of the classic cartoon series that started 30 years back in 1987. Having grown up alongside the original series, I get it. Our nostalgia is a beloved part of our lives, and nothing could ever possibly measure up to sky-high expectations. Especially not in this case, right? Well, I'm here to tell you. In every single imaginable way, Disney has pulled it off, with a loving and clever reboot that captures the essence and magic of that original run, while making necessary and valid updates when needed. DuckTales is an absolute joy, boasting strong and stylish animation, a wonderful voiceover cast that nails the tone, and some extremely clever writing that took me by a surprise more than once, even as a man quickly approaching his 30s. And it's frankly shocking seeing the plethora of highly critical reviews here, and even more so shocking to see many of the reviews containing blatant and overblown exaggerations of minor issues or even outright lies about the content of the series, just so they can smugly slap it with an unfair 1 or 2 out of 10 score and bemoan how their childhood has been ruined. Just take it from this fan, go in with an open mind, and you will be thoroughly charmed and thrilled with the results. Grouchy trillionaire Scrooge McDuck, voice of David Tennant, is surprised when his estranged relative Donald, Tony Anselmo, drops off the triplets Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Danny Pudi, Ben Schwartz, Bobby Moynihan one day, demanding he watch over them while he leaves to be interviewed for a new job. While Scrooge initially ignores the boys, a series of strange events brings them together as he rediscovers his old sense of adventure and excitement. And so, they team up, along with pilot Launchpad Beck Bennett and the headstrong Webby, Kate Micucci, and embark on a series of strange and peculiar new adventures in search of fame and treasure. Along the way, they fight fearsome creatures, encounter old enemies and begin a search for the elusive Della, the long-lost mother of Huey, Dewey and Louise. To start with one of the more publicized aspects of the series, I absolutely love the entire cast. Obviously Tony Anselmo is a complete joy as Donald. After all, he's been voicing the character for over 30 years now, including in the original run of the series. Pudi, Schwartz and Moynihan are all excellent as the lead trio, and though they might not sound as childlike, all nail the characters quite well and have that delightful, young sense of glee to their performances. You can tell all three are trying their hardest, and are infectiously engaging. I also really adore Micucci, and I very much appreciate how Webby has been updated to be a more proactive and academically intelligent character. But the revelation here is David Tennant as Scrooge McDuck. He knocks it out of the park. Absolutely perfect turn as the beloved character. The animation style has been a source of much love and much controversy, but I really dig it. It's stylized to be a bit more stark, contrasted and simplistic, almost like an animated comic book, which is appropriate as comics were the inspiration for the '87 series. Yes, there is a degree of stylistic whiplash going from the old to the new, but stick with it. It grows on you quickly, and it serves the material very well. And the writing is fantastic. It has the same tonality as the original, but brings it a bit more up to speed for modern times. Though don't worry. It's not bogged down by needless references or contrived self-aware meta-humor. It's very much just geared towards things children in this day and age will understand. There's a bit more gadgetry at play, passing nods to modern popular culture, a few jokes about current trends and that sort of thing. But it's never to the detriment of the series, and it's always in the service of the story or world building. Over the past few days, I've watched the first 6 episodes, and I have to say, I'll probably keep watching. I adored the original run of the series growing up and was constantly viewing reruns and videotaped episodes on a daily basis. And now, a beloved part of my childhood has returned, as good as it ever was. Though there will sadly always be doubters and those who can't let go of the past and embrace the future, I would highly recommend the new DuckTales to open-minded fans old and new alike. It really is as good as the original in every single way, and it easily earns a perfect 10 out of 10 from me. Woo! So, does it deserve the classic effect-worthy approval? The theme song, yes. The rest, no. The reboot surpasses it in every other category, though the amount of episodes might just reach the 90th mark if it continues. It could reach its 100th. Well, that's all the time we have. If you like this, leave a like, comment, share the video, subscribe, and click on the bell to get notified for more of my videos. Also, be sure to follow me on my Twitters, Tumblr, and my Discord server or Discord in general. Leave your movie or TV show suggestions in them as well.